Still at the top for now, the U.S. will hold on to its AAA credit rating after narrowly avoiding a default on its debt. But it may not last. Ratings agency Moody's lowered its outlook on U.S. debt to negative, and that means the world's biggest economy could see its AAA status slip away within the next 2 years. So what do investors make of it all? To find out, I'm joined by CNN's Nina DeSantos. So on the one hand, they've put the Band-Aid over the gaping hole, the gaping wound that is the American financial economy. But that still doesn't solve problems on this side of the pond.
It certainly doesn't. And the word to remember in all of this, Monita, is debt. Because, of course, the debt crisis still rumbles on despite the impasse being surmounted for the time being in Washington.
Nearly 80% of human trafficking victims are sexually exploited. It is just one of the many horrifying facts we are highlighting in our year-long CNN Freedom Project. We're using our global reach to shine a spotlight on modern-day slavery. But it's not just about the depressing statistics. We want to show you how awareness of the problem can actually lead to action. In our documentary, Nepal's Stolen Children, we highlight efforts to prevent forced prostitution. A few days after that documentary aired, police raided a brothel in New Delhi's red light district. Police tell us that 9 girls were rescued, and the suspected manager of the brothel was arrested and charged with kidnapping, rape, and forcing girls into prostitution. Malika Kapoor picks up the story from there. We're watching World One live from London. He ruled with an iron fist, but now he faces trial behind iron bars. Former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak is in court right now. We'll have more live from Cairo. Well, as we keep our eye inside that courtroom there, we want to get some insight on the workings of this trial. We want to bring in David Collins. He's an international law expert at the City Law School. Thank you so much for being with us, David. Mr. Mubarak is charged with corruption, abusing power to amass wealth, and he's also charged with conspiring to kill unarmed protesters during Egypt's revolution. How does one defend? How difficult is that to provide a defense for that? Or even, I should say a prosecution, because we're looking for actual evidence of that.
Well, I think before we even get there, some of the concerns that we have here are the procedural issues involved with this trial. And we need to establish 2 major issues here, first of all, and that's presumption of innocence. We have to start with the presumption that he's innocent.
David Collins, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let's return now to the escalating violence in Syria, where the head of a Syrian human rights group says nearly 2,000 people have died in Syria since the anti-government uprising began back in mid-March.
The recent spike in violence began 3 days ago, just hours before the start of the holy month of Ramadan. And it's been centered mainly on the city of Hama over here. It's a city with a bloody past. In 1982, Syrian forces crushed an anti-government uprising there with the loss of 20,000 lives. We want to show you now the latest situation and how it has unfolded there. You may find some of the following images disturbing. Now, we begin on Sunday, and Syrian tanks stormed Hama, opening fire on protesters. Now, human rights groups say at least 50 people were killed, among them 4 children. A further 20 people were reportedly killed in other parts of the country. CNN cannot independently confirm the number of those killed, and that's because Syria has restricted access to international journalists. Then we take you to Monday, and what happened there, we saw bloodshed continuing. Thousands of protesters taking to the streets after Ramadan prayers, but they came face to face with government forces. One human rights group says 24 people were killed right across the country, almost half of them in Hama. Dozens of others were injured and more than 150 people detained. The very next day, on Tuesday, what we saw there, snipers taking up positions in Hama. That's according to an activist group who said 5 people were killed. Now, in Damascus, funerals were held for some of those who died the previous day. 40,000 mourners took part, but they were fired on by security forces armed with tear gas and live ammunition. I'll share with you, Zain, what newspapers around the world are saying about this. In the United Arab Emirates, the Gulf News has the headline, "Syrian voices refuse to die down." It goes on to say the scene is really that of war, only with one side armed with tanks and the other with placards. The Wall Street Journal's headline, "Preventing Civil War in Syria." The op-ed article says Assad and his family should be offered one last chance to get out now before the wheels start turning that will make him an international outlaw forever. And finally, the International Herald Tribune has the headline, "To topple Assad, it takes a minority. The opinion piece says Syrians of all stripes are beginning to understand that everyone is a victim of the regime and that the real conspiracy is that of the Assads themselves. One issue, many views, he's not winning anymore. He's lost the intimidation factor and he's looking for a new caddy, but at least he's back. And we're talking about Alex Thomas. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Tiger Woods.
That's right. And the message from him is business as usual. Tiger Woods facing the media ahead of his comeback tournament this week.
But only don't mess with me.
Butts in at the wrong moment. That's it.
I love it. You know, I wish I could just say, hi, all, I'm here, and have, like, 137,000 followers. Wish I could just do that.
Yeah.
Don't have that power. It's all...
You do.
Maybe if you did the flying squirrel,
yeah.
you would have.
Zain, if we did that, can you imagine? We'd get a lot of followers. Alex,
Thank you so much.
We're watching two different storms threatening opposite sides of the globe. A strong typhoon spins in the Pacific and Tropical Storm Emily in the Caribbean. Meteorologist Jennifer Delgado is at the World Weather Center with more on both. Jen.
Hi, Monita. We're starting off with Tropical Storm Emily. Right now, it's located about 295 kilometers.
That's debris?
That is
Incredible.
actually debris. Incredible.
Wow.
Bad drought, but look what it uncovered.
Large debris. Yeah, all right. Jen, thank you very much.
You're watching World One live from London. I'm Zain, Verjee.
I'm Monita Rajpal. We thank you for joining us. We'll stay with us. We'll update you on the main news at the top of the hour.